Bum, 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 bum. Oh boy, Mel, did you ever hop on in the wild after title updates one? I think I did, like stream it like one time, but that's it. But hi Taco, welcome in everyone. We are continuing reading Hail Mary. We are on chapter 4. The book have a lot of chapters, so I'm gonna do it like 3 hour, like every single week. I'm just gonna do it for 2 or 3 hour, depending like how well I can like read, because like I'm really bad with reading. But how is everyone except for whatever the fuck is that presidential thingy? But 200 asses at Logika. I wonder what's that mean. There's 10 million new monster. You're lying. You're lying to me. You're lying. Liar, liar, pants on fire. But hi, Billy, and who else is here? Oh, ada Zero. Welcome in, Zero. Fish. We do not have fish today, but I can open it. Hold up. Let me open the fish right now. So chill. If you guys want to chill and fish, feel free. Oops. Probably shouldn't really like zoom it in first. Trees from take you. Don't joke it to me about it, lad. Don't joke about it, lad. I forgot like the meme thingy. There you go. Fish is here. Feel free to fish. Fish, fish. Let me just put fish. Why is fish on my head? Fish background, fish background. Fish on top here. Fish. Mr. Axel, welcome in. How is everyone? I was cooking before and I spent time just looking on tile stream. I actually planning to stream early, but there's something about talking about politics in Indonesia that kind of intrigued me. So yeah, okay. No, no, Billy, come back here. Fish now. Fish now. Fish up. Fish up. Go fish, Billy. What the fuck is a scooter? We're gonna play Datlock. You talk shit about Datlock, and now you're playing Datlock. Have fun with it, Taco. Hmm. Oh yeah. As I talked about before, I was cooking. I've been studying how to cook lentil. Do you guys know lentil? I think I'm gonna try to replace my green with lentil because I'm so lazy to cook green. And lately my friend been talking about diet. They've been talking about whole food and stuff, like healthy food. So I've been thinking a lot about like cooking like healthy food, basically, like losing weight and stuff. And then my friend been asking about it. Hey, how do you lose weight? And I've been like teaching them about like, oh, you should replace white rice with something else because white rice is not healthy, sadly. That's sorry, I can talk shit about it and mean it out. Understandable. I'm sorry, King Taco, for adopting you. Hope you good luck on the shit talking competition. Not heading to your full potential. You should. Why not? Go hate to your full potential. Why the fuck not? But anyway, we're on Project Hail Mary. Reading now. We are on page 73. I have not remember but what is it doing before, but if I scroll back one pages, he's like talking to the computer, and he finally like Grace finally remember his name after talking. I have forgot. Kick the plan, but not allowed to have breast marbility. Let me just like read it a bit. Where is the line? All important to be sure what there was storage. Oh yeah, he was exploring the storage and he finally remembered his name. So he is still naked, surprisingly. He's still wearing a makeshift toga. Doesn't Project Hail Mary have a movie? Yes. The reason why I want to read it because I really enjoyed the movie quite a lot, and it's really I really want to like to have more content. I want to know what's different. I want to learn how to read basically. I wanna start like reading like a few books. So you should. You should, Taco. I think you're gonna like it. I think a person that work in the radioactive like you would enjoy Project Hail Mary because it's science fiction. Oh yeah, you told me like you read a lot of like RPG fiction. This is more like science fiction as well, but I think you would enjoy it. It have like a lot of talk about radioactive as well. So basically, I think you 100% will enjoy it. If you're not, not very fun. Okay. Oh, his what I'm trying to see right now is that um Grace is trying to bury his friend, so he going to the storage basically. What I'm reading probably gonna not gonna make sense, but just bear with me right now, okay? If I wanted to get in there, I guess I'll have to eventually. It's look a bit claustrophobic, to be honest. Like the crawl space under a house. I grabbed the nearest package and pulled it up through the opening. The package is held together by Velcro strap. Velcro strap? The one that I use as a cable, really? Does it even one? Oh, I love Velcro strap. I pulled the I pulled them apart. The container unfolded like a Chinese takeout box. Inside are a bunch of uniform. Fun fact: I have never opened a Chinese takeout box. I wonder how it's look like. Trackpad. So not really a coincidence. Whoever packed this probably did it with careful planning. And they knew the crew would want uniforms as soon as they woke up. So they're in the first pack. There are at least a dozen uniforms in the package. They're each in vacuum sealed plastic bag. I open one at random. It's a light blue one piece jumpsuit, astronaut clothes. The fabric is thin but feel comfortable. On the left shoulder is the Hail Mary mission patches. Same design I saw in the control room. Beneath that is the Chinese flag. The right shoulder has a white patch with a blue chevron triangle surrounded by red design and the letter CNSA. Who's gambling? Scores is taco. Good luck. I recognize it immediately. Nerd that I am. It's the Chinese National Space Agency logo. There's a name tag over the left breast pocket. It read on Chinese, I cannot read it. The same character I saw in the Hail Mary mission crest. It's pronounced Yao. There you go. How do I know? Of course I was. Commander Yao. He was our leader. I can see his face now. Young, striking, eyes full of determination. He understood the severity of the mission and the weight of his soldier, sorry, it's not soldier. He was ready for the task. He was stern but reasonable, and yet you just knew he would give up his life in a second for the mission or his crew. Okay. Okay, I noticed that like from the movie and from the one I'm reading. I remember the Commander Yao in the movie. He's like an old man. He's like pretty old, but in here, in the book they say like he's pretty young. So that's so different, I guess. I pull out another uniform, much smaller than the commander. The mission patch is the same, but there are Russian flag beneath it. Blah. And the right shoulder has a tilted red chevron surrounded by a ring. It's a symbol of Roscosmos, the Russian space agency. The name patch read, it's in Russian. Another name from the crest. This was Ilyukina. Ilyukina? Ilyukina? There's a lot of like word that I can read here. So the movie sucked? No, movie is really good. Olasia Ilyukina. See, was hilarious. She could have you laughing your butt off within 30 seconds of meeting you. She just had one of those infectious and jovial personality. As serious as Yao was, Ilyukina was casual. They butted head about it from time to time, but even Yao couldn't resist her charm. I remember when he finally broke down and laughed at one of her jokes. You can be 100% serious forever. I stand up and look to the body. No longer a stern commander, no longer a cheerful friend, just a two empty husks that once held souls, but now barely look human. They deserve more than this. They deserve a burial. The container holds multiple outfits for each crew member. I eventually find the ones for me. They are exactly as I assumed they would be. Hail Mary mission patch with a US flag American underneath a NASA logo. I thought Grace is British. Huh, I was wrong. I do not like. I was wrong. It's just stupid on me. Look on the right soldier and name tag that say Grace. I put on my jumpsuit after more digging in the storage area of fine footwear. They're not shoes, really just a thick sock with the rubber soles, booty with some grip. British? Guess that's all we need for the mission. I put them on as well. Then I go about the grim task of dressing my departed comrade. The jumpsuit legitimately looked the right size. On their thin, desiccated body, I even put the booties on. Booties? What is booties? Boots? Why not? This is our uniform. And a traveler deserves to be buried in uniform. I start with Ilyukina. She weighed almost nothing. I carry her over my shoulder as I climb the ladder all the way to the control room. Once there, I set her on the floor and open the airlock. The spacesuit inside is bulky. In the way I move it piece by piece into the control room and set it on the pilot chair. Then I put Alicia into the airlock. The airlock control are self-explanatory. The pressure inside the airlock and even the outer door are controllable by the panel in the control room. There even a jettison button. I close the door and activate the jettison process. It started with a buzzing alarm, blinking light inside the airlock, and a verbal countdown. There are three different blinking abort switches inside the airlock. Anyone who find themselves in there during a jettison can easily cancel it. Once the countdown finishes, the airlock decompresses to 10% of an atmosphere according to the readouts. Then it released the outer door. With a whoosh, Alicia is gone, and with the constantly accelerating ship, the body simply falls away. Alicia Lyukina, I say. I don't remember her religion, or if she even have one. I don't know what she would have wanted said, but at least I will remember her name. I commend your body to the star. It seemed appropriate, maybe corny, but it's make me feel better. Next, I carry Commander Yao to the air like I set him inside, seal it, and jettison his remains into the same. I do not take this jettison name like jettison like word like seriously. Imagine I died, they put my dead body in the jettison my remain. Fuck this is not a day for nya. Now I got a refund. Now I got a refund. This is serious. No, Freaky, welcome in, Freaky. No, no, nya, Taku, sorry. I'll refund you. Serious business reading itaku. Only niya on League of Legends. How about that? League of Legends niya. I cannot taku. I'm reading it. Gonna like my concentration gonna be gone. Where's Nyaridim again? I was like, I can just search it immediately and refund immediately. Okay, Sitaku reject. Complete all and then reject. And then sorry guys, gotta cancel it for now. There we go. Sorry guys. Nya nya nya. Freaky, how your day, Freaky? Have you watched Project Hail Mary? Everyone should watch Project Hail Mary. If you're looking for a Aro Ace presentation, I think the protagonist is Aro Ace. It's just me though, but I think he does. Nya 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 nya, Freaky. Yao Li Ji. Lo, I'm sorry, I'm stuck at Chinese pronunciation. Yao Li Ji. Yao Li Ji? Yao. Probably Yao Li Ji. I say. I don't know how I remember his given name. It just came to me in the moment. I command your body to the star. The airlock cycle, and I'm alone. I was alone all along. But no, I'm truly alone. The sole living human within several light years at least. What do I do now? I was gonna read it myself. I know what you gonna do. I read your mind. Welcome back, Mr. Grace, sighed Teresa. The kids all sat in their desks, primed for science class. Thanks, Teresa, I said. Michael peeped in. The substitute teacher was so boring. Well, I'm not, I said. I picked up for a plastic bin from the corner. Today we're gonna look to the rock. Wait, today we're going to look at the rock. Okay, maybe it's a little boring. I cackled from the kid. You're going to divide into 4 teams, and each team will get a bin. You have to spread the rock into igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. First team to finish and get every rock correctly categorized get bin back. Can we pick our own team? Trang asks excitedly. No, that just lead to a bunch of drama. Because children are animal. Horrible, horrible animal. Everyone laugh. Team will be alphabetical. So the first team is Abby raised her hand. Mr. Grace, can I ask you a question? Sure. What's happened to the sun? The whole class suddenly grew much more attentive. My dad says it's not a big deal, Michael said. My dad says it's a government conspiracy, said Tamora. Okay, I set the bins down and sat on the edge of my desk. So basically, you know how there are algae in the ocean, right? Well, there's sort of space algae growing in the sun. Astrophages? Said Harrison. I almost slipped off the desk. Where did you hear that word? That's what they're calling it now, said Harrison. The president called it that in the speech last night. I've been so isolated in that lab that I didn't even know the president had given a speech. And holy cow, I invented the word frustrat the day before. In that time, it got from her to the president to the media. Wow. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, astrophages is growing on the sun or near it. People aren't sure. Also, he's the one that named the astrophage. Like in the movie, it's not like it's because like talk that he actually like named it. So what's the problem? Michael asked. Algae in the ocean doesn't hurt us. Why would algae on the sun? I pointed to him. Good question. Thing is, Astropage is starting to absorb a lot of the sun energy. Well, not a lot, just a tiny percentage. But that means Earth get a tiny bit less sunlight, and that can cause a real problem here. So it'd be a little colder, like a degree or two. Abby asked, "What's the big deal? You guys know about the climate change, right? Oh, our CO2 emission have caused a lot of problem in the environment." "My dad said that's not real," said Tamara. "Well, it is," I said. "Anyway, all the environment problem we have from the climate change, they happened before because the world average temperature went up 1.5 degree. That's it. Just 1.5 degree. How much will this astrophage stuff change our temperature?" asked Luther. I stood up. I stood and paced slowly in front of the class. "We don't know, but if it breathes like algae does at about the same speed, climatologists are saying Earth temperature could, could drop 10 to 15 degree. What happened?" Luther asked. "It'd be bad. Very bad. A lot of animal, entire species will die out because their habitat are too cold. The ocean water will cool down too, and it might cause an entire food chain collapse. So even thing that could survive the lower temperature will starve to death because the thing they eat all die off." The kid stared at me. I was oh my god, he's explaining this to kid. This is so sad. Why had their parent not explained this to them? Probably because they didn't understand it themselves. Besides, if I have a nickels every time I have wanted to smack a kid parent for not teaching them even the most basic thing, well, I have enough nickels to put in shock and smack those parent with it. "Animal are going to die too?" Abby asked, horrified. Abby rode the horse competitively. "A kid?" And spent most of her time at her grandfather's dairy farm. Human suffering is often an abstract concept to kids, but animal suffering is something else entirely. "Yeah, I'm sorry, but lots of livestock will die, and what's worse than that, on land, crops will fail. The food we eat will become scarce. When that happens, the social order often break down, and I stopped myself there. These were kids. Why was I going this far?" "How?" Abby began. I never seen her at loss for words. How long before this happened? Climat, climat. What does I say? Fuck. Climatology. Let's say it correctly. Climatologist. She's locking in. I'm trying to lock in. Hi, Darko. Welcome in. Climatology, isn't it? Climatologist think it happened within the next 30 years, I said. Just like that, all the kids relax. 30 year? Sean laughed. "That's forever." "It's not that long," I said. "But to a bunch of 12 and a 13-year-old, 30 year may as well be a million." "Can I be on Tracy team for the rock starting excitement?" asked Michelle. 30 year. I look out at their little face. In 30 years, they'll all be in their early 40. They would bear the brunt of it all, and it wouldn't be easy. These kids were going to grow up in an idyllic world and be thrown into an apocalyptic nightmare. They were the generation that would experience the sixth extinction event. I felt a cramp in the pit of my stomach. I was looking out at the room full of children, happy children, and there was a good chance some of them would literally die of starvation. I I stammered. "I have to go to do a thing. Forget the rock assignment." "What?" asked Luther. "Do study hall. This is study hall for the rest of the tower. Just do homework from other classes. Stay in your seat and work quietly until the bell rang." I left the room without another word. I almost collapsed in the hall from the shake. I went to a nearby drinking fountain and splashed water on my face. Then I took a deep breath, got some self control back, and jogged to the parking lot. I drove fast, way too fast. I ran red light, I cut people off. I never do any of that. But that day was different. That day I don't even know. I screeched into the lab parking lot and left my car parked at an odd angle. To US Army soldier were at the door to the complex, just as they had been the previous 2 days while I'd been working there. I stormed past them. Should we have stopped him? I heard one ask the other. I didn't care what the response was. I stomped into the observation room. Strut was there, of course. Reading her tablet, she looked up and I caught a glimpse of genuine surprise of her face. Dr. Grace, what are you doing here? Past her. Through the window, I spotted four people in the containment suit working in the lab. Who are they? I said, pointing at the window. And what are they doing in my lab? Can't say I like her tone. She said, I don't care. And it's not your lab, it's my lab. Those technicians are collecting the astropage. What are you gonna do with it? She held her tablet under her arm. Your dream is coming true. I'm dividing up the astropage and sending it to 30 different labs around the world. Everything from CERN to CIA bioweapon facility. The CIA has a bio I began, and never mind. I want to do more work on this. She shook her head. You done your part. We thought it's an hero's life. Turned out it wasn't. You proved that. And since no alien exploded out of your chest, we can consider the Guinea pig pace over too. So you're done. No, I'm not done. There's a lot more to learn. Of course there is, she said, and I have 30 lap all eagerly waiting to get started on it. I stepped forward. Leave some astrophage here. Let me work it some more. She stepped forward as well. No, why not? According to your notes, there were 174 living astrophage cells in the sample, and you killed one yesterday. So we're down to 173. She pointed to her tablet. Each of these huge national lab, will get 5 or 6 cells each. That's it. We're done to that level of scarcity. The cell are the 173 most important things on Earth right now. Or analysis of the them will determine if humanity survive. She paused and spoke a little more softly. I get it. You spend your whole life trying to prove that life doesn't require water. And I'm unbelievable. You get some actual extra. I hate difficult word. Extraterrestrial life. Blah. Extraterrestrial life. There we go. Hi, Mister. Hi, Detol. And it turned out it to need water. That's rough. Shake it off. Get back to your life. I got it from here. Reading session, so true, bestie. Reading session. I love this book. Hope everyone have a wonderful day.
Are you winning, son?
Am I winning it? I'm still a microbiologist who spent his career working up theatrical model for alien life. I'm a useful resource with a skill set almost no one else has. Dr. Grace, I don't have the luxury of leaving sample here just to stroke your bruised ego. Ego? This isn't about my ego. It's about my children. You don't have children. Yes, I do. Dozen of them. They come to my class every day and they're all going to end up in a Mad Max nightmare world if we don't solve this problem. Yeah, I was wrong about the water. I don't care about that. I care about those kids. So give me some gosh darn astropage. She stepped back, pursed her lip. She looked to the side, thinking it over. Then she turned back to me. Three. You can have three astropage. I unclenched my muscle butt cheek. Haha. Okay. I breathed a little. I didn't realize how tense I've been. Okay, three. I can work with that. She typed on her tablet. I'll keep this lab open. It's all yours. Come back in a few hours and my guys will be gone. I was already halfway into the containment suite. I'm getting back to work now. Tell your guys to stay out of mine. She glared at me, but didn't say anything further. I have to do this for my kid. Mm, I mean, they're not my kids, but they're my kids. I look at the screen right before me. I need to think about this. My memory's potty. Seem reliable enough, but incomplete. Is I waiting for an epiphany where I remember everything? What can I work out right now? Earth is in trouble. The sun is infected with astropage. I'm in the spaceship in another solar system. This ship wasn't easy to build, and it had an international crew. We're talking about an interstellar mission, something that should be impossible with our technology. Okay, so humanity put a lot of time and effort into this mission, and astropage was the missing link that enabled. There's only one explanation. There a solution to the astrophage problem here, or the potential solution, something promising enough to dedicate a huge amount of resource. I scoured the screen for more info. Mostly they seem to be in the kind of thing you expect on a spaceship. Life support, navigation, that sort of thing. One screen is labeled Beatles, the next screen is ever say, wait, Beatles? Okay, I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but I need to find out if there are a bunch of beetles on the ship. That's the sort of thing a guy needs to know. The screen is broken into four quadrants, each one showing nearly the same thing. A little schematic, and a bunch of text information. The schematics each on a bulbous oblong shape with a pointed head and a trapezoid on the back. If you tilt your head just right and squint, I suppose it kind of look like it's a beetle. Each beetle also has a name up top. John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Yeah, I get it. I'm not laughing, but I get it. I arbitrarily pick one beetle, John, and give it a good look. John is no insect. I'm pretty sure he's a spaceship. The trapezoid in the rear is a labeled spin drive, and the entire bulbous part is labeled fuel. The little head has a computer label and the radio label. I'll look a little closer. The fuel info box say astrophage 120 kilogram, temperature 96,415 Celsius. Jesus. The computer box say last memory check 3 days ago, 1 terabyte functioning correctly. I don't know. It just say TB. I don't think it's terabyte. And the radio info just says status 100%. It's an unmanned probe, something small, I guess. The entire mass of the fuel is just 120 kilogram. That's not a lot, but a little astrophage goes a long way. There aren't any scientific instrument labeled. What's the point of an unmanned ship with nothing on board? Wait, what if the 5 terabyte of storage is the point of the ship? Realization down on me. Oh shucks. I said. I'm out in space. I'm in another solar system. I don't know how much astrophagy it took to get me here, but it was probably a lot. Sending a ship to another star probably took an absurd amount of fuel. Sending that ship to another star and bringing it back would make time as much fuel. I checked the astrophage panel to refresh my memory. Remaining 20,000 kilogram. Consumption rate 6,000 gram per second. The consumption rate was 6,000 gram per second before, so it's gone down a little bit, and the full amount went down too. Basically, as the fuel gets consumed, the total mass of the ship goes down, so it needs less fuel per second to maintain the constant acceleration. Okay, that's all makes sense. I have no idea what's the Hail Mary mass is, but to be able to solve it along at 1.5 gram of acceleration on few gram of fuel per second. Astrophages is amazing stuff. Anyway, I don't know exactly how the consumption rate will change over time. I mean, I could work it out, but it's complicated. So for now, just approximate it to 6 gram per second. How long it will the fuel last? It's nice to have a jumpsuit on. It got pocket for all sort of knickknacks. I still haven't found a calculator, so I do the math with the pen and paper. Grand total, a run of a fuel in about 40 days. Oh my, what? I don't know what star that's it, but it's not the sun, and there's just no way to get from any other star to Earth with just 40-day accelerating at 1.5 gram. It probably took a year to get here from Earth, which might be why I was in a coma. Interesting. Anyway, all this can only mean one thing. The Hail Mary isn't going home. This is a one-way ticket, and I'm pretty sure this bill are how I supposed to send information back to Earth. There's no way I have a radio transmitter portable enough to broadcast several light years. I don't know if that would even be possible to build, so instead, I have this little bill ship with 5 terabyte of information each. They fly back to Earth and broadcast their data. There are 4 of them for redundancy. I'm probably supposed to put copy of my finding in each one and send them all home. If at least one survived the journey, Earth is safe. I'm on a suicide mission. John Paul. Why is it calling his name? I'm on a suicide mission. John, Paul, George, and Ringo get to go home, but my long winding road ends here. I must have to know all this when I found her. But to my amnesia riddled brain, this is new information. I'm going to die out here, and I'm going to die alone. Yeah, he gonna die. He gonna die. It's a journey. It's a one journey. Everyone in the spaceship, including Captain Yao, Ilyukina, and him and Grace. There are 3 of them on the spaceship, and he lost his memory. It's a typical of losing memory, and they are doing a mission in which like they need to get information how to solve this like sun problem basically, right? So can you give me an Emok pack one on wild? Let me see how much is it. I don't think I can send you like pack as well because like I have like lower currency, and do you know like what happened if you have lower currency in Steam? You cannot send like things to the higher one unless like I paid like full price or something. Or like I send it with gift code. I mean wild. Turn to wild store page. There's an emote pack. Okay, bros, all 191 thing on this game. Jesus fuck. No wonder it's it make everything laggy. Oh my god, they have so much. Where is selling this? Chapter 5, everyone. We finished chapter 4. Let me just drink water. I'm gonna eat dumpling today. Ba, 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 ba. I fucking love this music, by the way. Free bangers. Hmm. Chapter 5. I glared at the astrophage. Why the heck do you go to Venus? The microscope view was displayed on the big wall mounted monitor. Each of the three. Let me just clean my glasses actually. Sorry guys. My glasses like oily and thingy. It's like making blurry. Are you ready for Capture 5? Base Monster Hunter What original soundtrack $96. That should make it $6-7. The heck? Okay. I watched any clues to their motivation, but Larry, Curly, and Mo over no answer. I need them, of course. Sorry, I think I skipped over some word. I'm gonna like redo it. Capture 5. I glared at the astrophage. Oh, it's a like previous, like it's not the present basically. Why the heck do you go to the Venus? The microscope view was displayed on the big wall mounted monitor. Each of the three little cells were a foot across at this magnification. I watched for any clues to their motivation, but Larry, Corey, and Moy offered no answer. I named them, of course. It's a teacher thing. What's so special about Venus? How do you even find it? I crossed my arm. If Astrophates understood my body language, they know I wasn't messing around. It take a room for full of really smart people at NASA to work out how to get to Venus. And you do it as a single-celled organism with no brain. It had been 2 days since Schrott left me alone with the lab. The army guys were still at the doors. One was named Steve, friendly guy. The other never spoke to me. I ran my hand through my greasy hair. I neglected to shower that morning. Okay. How many times do you guys actually wash hair? Wash your hair like 2 days, 2 days once, every single day, once a week? I neglected to shower that morning. At least I didn't have to wear a hazmat suit anymore. Scientists in Nairobi had taken chances with of their astrophies and exposed it to the Earth atmosphere to see what happened. It was unaffected. So thanks to them, labs all over the world could breathe sigh of relief and stop working with an argon-filled room every day, but when I'm back home, I sometimes skip a day. Oh, I actually wash my hair like once every 2 days. I should, but most certainly, like I wash it after like I do exercise because I exercise like two, like once every 2 days. So maybe I should just wash it every day. But I do take a shower every day though, just not washing my hair every day. I glance at the file I glanced at the pile of papers on desk. The scientific community had moved into overdrive in a very unscientific way. Gone were the days of careful peer review and published articles. Astrophage research was a free for all, where researchers posted their finding immediately and without proof. It led to misunderstanding and mistake, but we just didn't have time to do things the right way. Strad kept me in the loop. Strad kept me in the loop on most stuff. Not everything, I was sure. Weird news. What other weird things she was up to? She seemed to have an authority everywhere. A Bulgian's research team was able to prove that astropace react to magnetic field, but only sometimes. Other time, it react to it seemed to ignore other time it seemed to ignore magnetic field entirely. No matter how powerful, still the Belgian were able to very inconsistently steer Astropatron by putting it in magnetic field on changing the field orientation. Was that useful? No idea. At this point, the word was just collating data. The research in Paraguay showed that ants will get disoriented when they're within a few centimeters of astrophage. Was that useful? Okay. That one probably wasn't useful, but it was interesting. Was notably a group in Perth sacrificed one of their astrophage and did a detailed analysis on all the organelles inside. They found DNA and mitochondria. In any other situation, this would have been the most important discovery of the century. Alien life, indisputably. Alien had a DNA and mitochondria. And grumble a bunch of water. Water! Point is, the inside of an astrophage wasn't much different from the inside of any single celled organism you find on Earth. It used ATP, RNA transcription, and a whole host of other extremely familiar things. Some researchers speculate that it is originated from Earth. Others postulated this specific set of molecules was the only way for life to occur and astrophage evolved independently and smaller. A focal faction suggests that life might not have been evolved on Earth at all, and that astrophage and terrestrial life have a common ancestor. You know, I told the astrophage, if you boys weren't treading me all life on my planet, you'd be pretty awesome. You have mystery within mystery. I lean again to stable. You have mitochondria. Okay, so that means you use ATP as your energy storage, just like we do. But the light you use to move around require way more energy than your ATP can hold. So you have another energy storage pathway, one we don't understand. So till there, like Grace have a beef with water research basically because like back when he was in college, he still like do like research thing. He used to be a researcher, and then like he is teaching kids in elementary school now because he got kicked off basically for trying to prove that the life does not require water all the fucking time. There's actually like a being that doesn't require water, and I think you guys fucking suck. And he do it like very aggressively. That's why like he like really mad when there's like with water, but in basically with like fucking O2 or like HO2. I don't fucking know what's water mean. Mm. One of the astrophages on screen darted slightly to the left. It was pretty common, and once in a while, for no real reason, they just wiggle. What makes you move? I move! How does this random jerky move get you to the sun to Venus, and why do you go to Venus at all? Lots of people were working on the internal of Astrophage, trying to figure out what make it tick. Analyzing its DNA, good for them. Wanted to know the basic life cycle, that was my goal. Compile wild for real. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I installed the game yet. Single-celled organisms don't just store a buttload of energy and fly through space for no reason. There had to be something astrophage needed from Venus, or it would just stay on the sun. And it needed something from the sun too, or it would stay on Venus. The sun part was pretty easy. It was there for the energy. Same reason plant grow leaf. Got to get that sweet energy if you're going to be a life form. Make perfect sense. So, what about Venus? I pick up a pen and fidgeted with it as I thought. According to the Indian Space Research Organization, you guys get going up to 0.92 times the speed of light. I point at them. Didn't know we could do that, did you? Figure out your velocity. They use Doppler shift analysis of the light you emit to work it out. And because of what? They also know you're going to both direction to and from Venus. I frown. I frown, but if you hit an atmosphere at the speed, you should die, so why don't you? I rubbed my such a weird word. What does that mean? My forehead with a knuckle. Because you can handle any amount of heat, right? So you blast into the atmosphere, but you don't get any hotter. Okay, but you have at least slowed down, so you just be in the upper atmosphere of Venus than you would. Turn around and go back to the sun. Why? I stared at the screen for a solid 10 minutes, lost in thought. Jupiter, stupider. Alright, and enough of this. I want to know how you find Venus. I went to the local hardware store, bought a bunch of 2 by 4 3/4 inch plywood, power tool, and other stuff I need. Steve, the army guy, helped me carry a lot of it in. Jerk army guy did nothing. For the next 6 hours, I built a light-proof closet with a shelf in it, and it was just big enough for me to get in and out. I set the microscope on the shelf. The door was plywood panel that I could remove with screw. I run power and video line into the closet through the little hole that I plunged up with a putty to make sure no light could get in through there either. I set my ER camera up on the microscope and sealed up the closet. Out in the lab, the monitor showed infrared light The camera saw. It was basically a frequency, a very low band of ER would show up as red. Higher energy band would be orange, yellow, and so on up the rainbow. I could see I could see their astrophage cell as a little red blob, which was expected at their constant temperature of 96,400 degrees Celsius. They would naturally emit an ER wavelength of 7.8 micron or so, the low end of what I set the camera to look for. It was good confirmation that the setup is working. But I didn't care about the dark red color. I wanted to see bright yellow flash, and that would be a petrified frequency that Astrophase spit out to move around. If any of my Astrophase move even the tiniest amount, I see a very obvious yellow flash, but it never came. Nothing happened. Nothing at all. Usually I see a jerky motion from at least one of them every few seconds, but now there was nothing. So I said, your little brat have settled down, eh? Like, whatever their navigation system was, it was best of online. I suspected that would be the case. What else could you use in space? There's no sound, no smell. It would have to be light gravity or electromagnetism. And light the easiest of those three to detect. At least as far as evolution is concerned, for my next experiment, I tape a little white LED and watch battery together. Of course, I wired it backward at first, and then the LED didn't light up. That pretty much a rule uh, in electronic. You never got diodes right on the first try. Anyway, I rewired it correctly, and the LED light up. I tapped the whole contraption to the inside wall of the closet. I make sure to position it so the astro page of the sample slide would get directly lined so side on it. Then I sealed everything up again. No, from the astrophage point of view, there was a lot of black nothingness and one shining spot of white. That's kind of what Venus might look like if you were out in space and looking directly away from the sun. Yummy! Yummy me. Yummy me. Sorry, I'm calling you yummy. I don't know why I so immediately just stream yummy. Yummy san! Yummy san! Welcome in! What are you streaming, yummy san? Yummy San. Go follow Yummy San, guys. They also do chill stream most of the time, mostly indie game. We are reading Project Hail Mary right now. We're on chapter 5. It's a lot of science. If you don't like spoiler for the thing, uh feel free to run away. But thank you for being here. We are on chapter 5 currently. We are the upper usually the protagonist like to do like a bunch of like experimenting. And I don't understand why every time he do that. It's a cute nickname. Yeah, I like cute thing. Yami-san, welcome in. Yatta. Mm. As a reminder, this you need to drink water. Reminder to drink water, Yami-san. Oh, taco! Taco organized neatly. I feel like for some reason I see a lot of game name like organized neatly. There's like cat organized neatly, dog organized neatly, and now taco. I guess they do like all the animal kingdom, and that's pretty cute. Don't forget to drink water and go to toilet, guys. Thank you for responding to yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. If you plan to read the book, I really recommend the movie. I recommend the book as well. It's kinda one of the character kinda resonate me in a way that like feel like Arrow Ace, and I think I like it a lot because it's not explicitly stated that the character is Arrow Ace, but I do feel like the character is Ace or like romantic or asexual, but I think it's just pretty neat to know. But anyway, we shall continue now. Careful spoiler, but hope everyone have a nice day. Oh god, what's frustrating? I run power and video line to the closest through a little hole that I plug up with a putty to make sure no light could get in through there either. I set my ER camera up on the microscope and seal up the closet. Out in the lab, the monitor showed the infrared light to the camera south. It's basically a frequency. Very low band of ER would show up as red. Hydro energy band would be orange, yellow, and so on. Oh, I think I read this. So you never nothing happened, nothing at all. Usually, I see a jerky motion from at least one of the very few seconds, but no, there was nothing. So I said, "You little brats have salt on it." It's an entire series though. Oh, Taco is Fun Made. Oh, it basically have the same name but Fun Made. I see. I'm really bad with puzzle game, but I do have like cat organized like neatly. I should try playing that. Yeah. Light. Wherever the navigation system was, it was based on light. I suspect that would be the case. What else could you use in space? There's no sound, no smell. It would have to be light and gravity or electromagnetism, and light is the easiest one for those three to detect, at least as far as evolution is concerned. For my next experiment, I tap a little white LED and watch battery together. Of course, I wired it backward at first, and the LED didn't light up. That's pretty much a rule in electronic. You never get diodes right away on the first try. Anyway, I rewired correctly, and the LED lit up. I taped the whole contraption to the inside wall of the closet. I made sure to position it so the astrophage on the sample slide would have a direct line of a side on it. Then I sealed everything up again. Now, from the astrophage frame view, there was a lot of black nothingness and one shining spot white. That's kind of what Venus might look like if we were out in space, looking directly away from the sun. They didn't budge. No hint of motion at all. I said. To be fair, it wasn't likely to work. If you were at the sun, looking away from it from the brightest spot of light you could see, you probably zero in on Mercury, not Venus. Mercury is smaller than Venus, but it's a lot closer, so you see more light. Why Venus? I mused. But then I thought of a better question. How do you guys identify Venus? Why did they move randomly? My theory by pure chances, every few seconds or so, an astrophage though, it had spotted Venus, so it trusted in that direction. But then the moment is past, so it stopped the trusting. The key had to be frequency of light. My voice didn't wiggle. My voice didn't wiggle at all in the darkness. What is that? But it wasn't just about the sheer volume of light, or they would have gone for the LED. It had to be something about frequency of the light. Planets just don't just reflect light; they also emit it. Everything emits light. The temperature of the object define the wavelength of light emitted. Planets are no exception. So maybe Astrophase took it off for Venus ER signature. It wouldn't be as bright as Mercury, but it would be a different color. A little Googling told me Venus' average temperature was 462 degrees Celsius. I had a whole drawer full of replacement bulb for a microscope and other lab stuff. I grabbed one and hooked it up to a variable power supply. Incandescent bulb worked by getting the filament so hot it emit visible light. That happened around 2500 degrees Celsius. I didn't need anything so dramatic. I just needed a measly 462 degree. I had just power going through the bulb up and down, watching with an IR camera until I got exactly the light frequency I wanted. I moved the whole contraption into my face closet. There we go. I watched the monitor with my voice and turned on the artificial Venus. Nothing. Absolutely no movement from the little dirt. What do you want from me? I demand. I pulled my goggles off and threw them to the ground. I drummed my finger on the table. If I were an astronomer and someone showed me a blob of light, how would I know it was Venus? I answered myself. I took for the ER signature, but that's not what Astrophase does. Okay, someone show me a blob of light and say I'm not allowed to use immediate ER to work up to the temperature of the body. How else could I find it with Venus? Spectroscopy. Look for carbon dioxide. I raised my eyebrow as the idea came to me. When light hit gas molecule, the electron goes all worked up, then they come down and re-emit the energy as light. But the frequency of photon they emit is very specific to the molecules involved. Astronomers use this for decades to know what gases are out there, far, far away. Is there an outbreak? Oh, it's been an hour. I need to look on the art break. I keep missing the rest to new row. Okay, let's keep going. Venus' atmosphere is 90 times Earth pressure and almost entirely carbon dioxide. Its spectroscopy signature of CO2 would be overwhelmingly strong. Mercury had no carbon dioxide at all, so the nearest competitor would be Earth. But we had a minuscule CO2 signature compared to Venus. Maybe Astrophage used emission spectra to find Venus. New plan! The lead have seemingly infinite supply of light filter. Pick a frequency and just filter for it. I look up the spectral signature of carbon dioxide. The peak wavelength were 4.26 micron and 118.31 microns. I found the appropriate filter and built a little box for them. Inside, I put a small white light bulb. Now I had a box that would emit a spectral signature of carbon dioxide. I put it in the test closet, went out to watch the monitor. Larry, Curly, and Mo hung out on their side, just like they had it all day long. I flicked on the light bulb, watched for any reaction. The astrophage left. They didn't just meander toward the light, they were gone. Absolutely gone. Mm, I had been recording the camera input, of course. I ran it backward to watch frame by frame. Between two frames, they seemingly disappeared. Hmm, good news! Astropage retracted the carbon dioxide spectral signature. Bad news! My tree irreplaceable. 10 American wide astropage had launched out somewhere, maybe at a velocity approaching a speed of light, but I had no idea where they went. Crap. Midnight. Darkness everywhere. The army guy changed Steve or two guy didn't know. I miss Steve. Oh, romance. I had an aluminium foil and duct tape up over every window of the lab. I sealed the crack around the entrance, exit with an electrical tape. I turned off every piece of equipment that had readout or LED of any kind. I put my watch in the drawer because it had glow in the dark paint on the hand. I let my eyes adjust to the total darkness. I saw so much as a single shape that wasn't my imagination. I shut out the light leak, put tape over it. Finally, I reached a level darkness so intense I couldn't see anything. Opening or closing my eyes had no effect at all. The next step was newly invented ER goggles. The lad has many things, but infrared goggles were not among them. I considered asking Steve, the army guy, if he could score some. I probably could have called Strad and see would have had the president of Peru personally deliver them or something. But this was faster. The goggles were just an LCD output screen of my ER camera with a bunch of tape around them. Pressed them to my face and added more tape, then more and more and more. I'm sure I'll look ridiculous, but whatever. I fired up the camera and looked around the lab. Plenty of heat signature. The walls were still warm from sunlight earlier that day. Everything electrical had glow, and my body shined like a beacon. I adjust the frequency range to look for much hotter thing, especially thing over 90 degrees Celsius. I crawled into my massive Microsoft closet. Look at the light box I use for the CO2 spectral emission. Astrophages are only 10 micron across. No change I see something small with the camera, or with my eyes for that matter. But my little alien are very hot, and they stay hot. So if they're not moving, they will have to spend the last 6 hours or so slowly heating up their surrounding. That was their hope. It panned out. I immediately saw a circle of light on one of the plastic light filters. Oh, thank God, I gasped. It was very faint, but it was there. The spot was about 3 millimeters across and grew fainter, colder away from the center. The little fella had been heating up plastic for hours. I scanned back and forth across the two plastic square. I quickly found a second spot. My experiment worked way better than I expected. They saw what they two was. Venus and beeline for it. When they hit the light filter, they couldn't go any further. They probably kept pushing until I turned off the light. Anyway, if I could just confirm that all three astropaces were present, I could back the filters, then spend however long I needed to find and harvest the void from them with a microscope and pipettes. And there it was, the third astropage. The gang all here, I said. I reached into my pocket for a sample bag and got ready to be very careful, pull the filter off the light box. And when I saw the fourth astropage, just minding its own business, a fourth cell. It was right in the same general crystal as the first three on the filters. Holy! I've been staring at this guy for a week. There's no way I would have missed one. There could only be one explanation. One of the astrophases divided. I accidentally made the astrophase reproduce. I stared at the fourth spot of the light for a full minute, taking in the magnitude of what had just happened. Breeding astrophase meant we would have an unlimited supply to study. Kill them, poke them, take them apart, do whatever we wanted. This was a game changer. Hello, Simp, I said. Who is named the other fourth one? Hi, and welcome in. I spent the next 2 days obsessively studying this new behavior. I didn't even go home, I just sleep in the lab. Steve, the army guy, brought me breakfast. Great guy. Recommend. I should have shared all my findings with the rest of the science community, but I wanted to be sure. Peer review may have found by the wayside, but at least I could self-review better than nothing. The first thing what bothered me CO2 and spectral emission are 4.26 and 18.31 microns, but astrophages are only 10 micron across. So you could really interacting with light that had a larger wavelength. Who could even see the 18.31 micron band? I repeated my earliest picture experiment with just the 18.31 micron filter and got a result I didn't expect. Strange thing happened. Oh, bizarre. First off, two of the astrophages weep over the filter. They saw the light and went right for it. But how? It should be impossible for astrophages to interact with a wavelength that big. I mean, literally impossible. I need water. Well, like it's a funny thing. It's a wavelength. Define what it can and can interact with. Anything smaller than the wavelength is functionally non-existent to that photon. That's why there are meshed over the window of a microwave. The holes in the mesh are too small for microwave to pass through it. But visible light with much shorter wavelength can go through freely, so you get to watch your food cook without melting your face off. Astrophage is more than 18.31 micron, but somehow still absorb light at the frequency. How? But that's not even the strangest thing that happened. Yes, two of them took off the filter, but others two stayed put. They didn't seem to care. They just hung out on the slide. Maybe they didn't interact with the larger wavelength. So I did one more experiment. I shined the 4.26 micron light at them again. And I got the same result. The same two went right at them again as before, and the other two just didn't care. And there it was. I could be 100% certain, but I was pretty sure I just discovered the whole astrophage life cycle. It clicked in my mind like a puzzle piece finally fitting together. The two holdout didn't want to go to Venus anymore. They wanted to go back to the sun. Why? Because one of them just divided and created a other. Oh shit. Wait, so they actually can get tired. Astrophage hung out on on the surface of the sun, gathering energy via heat. They store it internally in some way no one understands them. Then when they have enough, they migrate to Venus to breed, using the stored energy to fly through space, using infrared light as a propellant. A lot of species migrate to breed. Why would astrophages be any different? The IOC already worked out that the inside of astrophage wasn't much different from Earth life. It needed carbon and oxygen to make a complex protein required for DNA, mitochondria, and all other fun stuff found in cell. There are plenty of hydrogen on the sun, but the other elements just aren't present. So astrophage migrates to the nearest supply of carbon dioxide, Venus. First, it follows magnetic field line and goes right away from the sun north pole. It has to do that, or the light from the sun would be too blinding to find Venus. And going straight out from the pole mean that astrophages will have full view of Venus' entire orbital path, no portion of it occluded by the sun. And this is why astrophage is so inconsistent on reacting to magnetic field. It only care about them at the very beginning of its journey and no other time. Then it looked for Venus' massive carbon dioxide spectral signature. Well, not really. Looks for. It's probably more a simple stimulus response thing initiated by the 4.26 and 18.31 micron light band. Anyway, once it sees Venus, it goes right to it. The path it takes right away from the solar pole, the sharply turning toward Venus, that's the Petrova line. The Petrova line. Or heroic astrophages reach the upper atmosphere of Venus, collect the CO2 it needs, and can finally reproduce. After that, both parent and child return to the sun, and the cycle began anew. It's simple. Really, get energy, get resource, and make copy. It's the same thing all life on Earth does. And that was why two of my little stooge didn't walk toward the light. So how does Astropage find the sun? My guess look for the extremely bright thing and head that way. I separated Moo and Sam, the sun seeker, from Larry and Curly, the fanny seekers. I put Larry and Curly on the different side and put it in the light sealed sample container. Then I set up an experiment in the dark closet for Moo and Sam. This time, I put bright incandescent bulb in there and turned it on. I expect them to head right toward it, but no dice. They didn't budge. Probably not bright enough. I went to photography store downtown. San Francisco has a lot of photography enthusiasts, and both and buy the largest, brightest, most powerful flash I could find. I replaced the light bulb with the flash and did the experiment again. When Sam took the bite, I had to sit down and take a breath. Should have taken a nap. Hadn't slept for 36 hours. Girl, but this was too exciting. I pulled out my cell phone and dialed start number. She answered halfway through the first ring. Dr. Grace. She said, "Find something?" "Yeah," I said. I figured out how astrophages reproduce and managed to make it happen. Silent for a second. "You successfully bred astrophages?" "Yeah." "Non-destructively?" she asked. "I had three cells. I now have four. They're all alive and well." Silence for another second. "Stay there." "Sleeping! Reading day! Reading Wednesday." She hung up. "Huh?" I said. I put the phone back in my lab coat. "Guess she's on her way." Steve, the army guy, buzzed into the lab. "Dr. Grace?" "Well, yeah? Please come with me." "Okay," I said. "Let me just get my astrophage sample put away. There are lab techs on the way to deal with all that. You have to come with me now." Okay. The next 12 hours were unique. Steve, the army guy, drove me to the high school football field where a U.S. Marine Corps helicopter had already landed. We had word. They hustled me into the copper and up we went into the sky. I tried not to look down. The copper took me to the Travis Air Force Base. About 60 miles north of the city, did the Marines often land at Air Force bases. I don't know how much about the military, but they seem odd. It also seemed a bit extreme to send in Marine just to keep me from driving through a couple hours of traffic. But okay. There was a jeep waiting for me on the tarmac where the helicopter landed, with an Air Force guy standing next to it. He introduced himself. I swear he did, but I don't remember his name. He drove me across the tarmac to a waiting jet. No, not a passenger jet, and not a Lear jet or anything like that. This was a fighter jet. I don't know what kind. Like I said, I don't know military stuff. My guide hustled me up a ladder and into the seat behind the pilot. He gave me a pill and a little paper cup of water. "Take this." "What is this?" "It keep you from poking all over your nice, clean cockpit." I swallowed the pill. "Okay." "And it help you sleep." "Would?" I was super excited, like, "Would?" Away he went, and the ground crew pulled away the ladder. The pilot didn't say a word to me. 10 minutes later, we took off like a bat out of hell. I never full acceleration like that in my life. The pill did its job. I definitely would have puked. "Where are we going?" I asked through the headset. "I'm sorry, sir. I'm not allowed to speak to you." "This is going to be a boring trip then." "They usually are." He answered. I don't know exactly when I fell asleep, but it was within a minute of taking off. 36 hours of mad science plus of whatever was in that pill put me right into the dreamland, regardless of the ridiculous jet engine noise surrounding me. I woke in the darkness to jolt. We land. Welcome to Hawaii, sir, said the pilot. Hawaii? Why am I in Hawaii? I wasn't even given that information. The jet taxied onto the summer side runway or whatever, and a ground crew brought a ladder. I haven't gotten way halfway down to the ladder yet when I heard Dr. Grace. This way, please. It was a man in a U.S. Navy uniform. Where the hell am I? I demand. Naval Station Pearl Harbor, said the officer. But not for long. Please follow me. Sure, why not? They put me in another jet with another non-talkative pilot. The only difference was this time it was a Navy jet instead of an Air Force jet. Okay, I do not know the difference though. They put me in another jet with another non-talkative. The only difference was this Navy jet. Okay, I actually read that again. That put me. But I actually read it 3 times. We flew for a long time. I lost track of the hours. Keeping track was meaningless anyway. I didn't know how long we'd be in the air. Finally, kid you not, we landed on the honest to God aircraft carrier. Next thing I knew, I was on the flight deck looking like an idiot. They gave me an earmuff and coat and shuffled me over to helipad. A Navy copper was waiting for me. Will this trip end like ever? I asked. They ignored me and got me strapped on. The copper took off immediately. This time, the flight wasn't nearly so long, just an hour or so. This should be interesting, said the pilot. It was the only thing he said the whole flight. We descended on the landing gear deployed. Below us was another aircraft carrier. I squinted at him. Something looked different. What was it? Alright, it has a big Chinese flag flying over it. Is that a Chinese aircraft carrier? I asked. Yes, sir. Are we a U.S. Navy helicopter going to land on the Chinese aircraft carrier? Yes, sir. I see. We landed on the carrier helipad, and a bunch of Chinese Navy guys watched us with interest. There would be no post flight servicing of this copper. My pilot leered through the window at them, and they leered right back. As soon as I stepped out, he took off again. I was in the China hands now. Navy men come forward and gestured for me to follow him. I don't think anyone spoke English, but I got the general idea. He led me to a door in the tower structure. Okay, this is why is Grace assuming that Chinese people that none of the Chinese people speak English? That's Grace. Guess Grace. You're being a fucking dick right now. All the while, Chinese sailor watched me with curiosity. Finally, he stopped at the door with Chinese character on it. Okay, we got it. You're in China. He opened the door and pointed inside. I walk in, and he slammed the door behind me. So much for my guide. I think it was an officer conference room. At least that was my assumption. Based on the big table with 15 people sitting at it, they all turned their head to look up at me. Some were white, some were black, some were Asian, some were lab coats, others were suit. Straight, of course, sat at the head of the table. Dr. Grace, how was your trip? Sorry, I burp a bit. How was my trip? I said. I got dragged across the goose darn world without any notice. She held up her hand. It was just a pleasantry, Dr. Grace. I don't actually care how your trip was. She stood, addressed the room. Lady and gentlemen, this is Dr. Ryland Grace from the United States. He figured out how to beat astropage. Gas come up from the gas come up. Gas came from around the table. One man shook his feet and spoke his thick German accent. Das ist that warum haben Sie? I cannot do accent. Nor English. Strahd interrupted. Why are we only hearing of this now? The German demanded. I wanted to confirm it first. While Dr. Grace was en route, I had technician to pick up this link. They quoted 4 life astrophages from his room, only left him 3. An elderly man in a lab coat spoke Japanese in a calm, shooting voice. Next to him, a younger Japanese man in his Harkle should translate. Dr. Matsuka would like to respectfully request a detailed description of the process. Strut stepped aside and gestured to her chair. Doctor, have a seat and laid it out for us. Hold on, I say. Who are these people? Why am I on this? Why am I on Chinese aircraft career? And have you ever heard of Skype? How old are you, dude? This is an international body of high-level scientists and political operatives that I have assembled to spearhead Project Helmer. What's that? That will take a while to explain. Everyone here is eager to hear you about your astrophage finding. Let's start with that. I shuffled to the front of the room, sat awkwardly at the head of the table. All eyes turned to me, so I told them. I told them all about the wooden closet experiment. I explained then all my tasks and what I did for each one and how I did them. Then I explained my conclusion. I told them my hypothesis about the astrophysics life cycle, how it worked, and why. They were few questions from the assembled scientists and politicos. But mostly they just listened, took notes. Several had translator whispering in their ear during the process. So yeah, I said that's pretty much everything. I mean, it's not rigorously tested yet, but it seemed pretty simple. A German guy raised his hand. Would it be possible to breed astrophages on a large scale? Everyone leaned forward a little. Apparently, this was a pretty important question, and it was on everyone's mind. I was taken aback by the sudden intensity of the room. Even Shot seemed unusually interested. Well, she said, please answer, Mr. Fogg. Sure, I said. I mean, why not? Well, how would you do it? I asked Shred. I guess I make a big elbows shaped ceramic pipe and fill it with carbon dioxide. Make one of end of it, make one of the end hot as you can get it, and have a bright light there. Put a magnetic collar on it, simulate the magnetic field of the sun, put an ER light emitter, and the other end of the elbow, and have it emit light at 4.26 and 18.31 micron. Make the inside of the pipe as black as you can. That should do it. Oops, ads. Upsilon. How does that do it? She said. I shrugged. The astrophage will gather energy at the sun side. And when they're ready to breathe, they follow that magnetic field to the pipe elbow. They see the ER light at the other end and heads toward it, seeing that light and being exposed to carbon dioxide make them breathe. Then the parent and daughter cell will go back to the sun side. Simple enough. A political looking man raised his hand and spoke with some kind of African accent. How much the astrophage could be made this way? How fast is the process? We would have a doubling time, I said, like algae or bacteria. I don't know how long it is, but considering the sun is getting dim, it must be pretty quick. A woman in a lab coat had been on her phone. She set it down, then spoke with a thick Chinese accent. Our scientists have reproduced your result. Mrs. Foy scolded at her. I don't even know this person. He just told us. Spies, presumably, said Strahd. The German huffed. How dare you circumvented us with sus, said Strahd. We're past all that. Miss Yi, do you have any additional information to share? Yes, she said. We estimate the doubling time to be just over 8 days under optimal condition. What does that mean? The African diplomat said. How much can we make? Well, I launched my phone calculator app and tap a few buttons. If you start with the 150 astrophage we have and breed them from a year, the end of it, you have about 173k kilogram astrophage. And would this astrophage be at maximum energy density? Will it all be ready to reproduce? So you won. I guess you call it enrichment, astrophage. Yes, he said. That's perfect word for it. We want astrophage that is holding as much as energy as it can. I guess that could be range, I said. First breed up the number of astrophage you want, then expose them to a lot of heat energy, but don't let them see any carbon dioxide spectral line. They collect energy and just sort of sit there, waiting until they can see somewhere to get CO2. What if we needed a 2 million kilogram of enriched astrophates, said the diplomat. Is a doubling every 8 days. I said 2 million kilo would be another 4 doubling or so, 1 month longer. A woman leaned toward the table. Her fingers snapped. We might have just had a chances. She had an American accent. An outside chances, said Foyk. There is hope, said the Japanese translator, possibly speaking for Dr. Matsuka. We need to talk amongst ourselves, said Strut. Go get some rest. The sailor outside will show you to a bunk. But I want to know about Project Hail Mary. Oh, you will. Believe me. I slept for 14 hours. Aircraft crew are awesome in many ways, but they earn 5-star hotel. The Chinese had given me a clean, comfy cot in an open bunk room. I had no complaint. I could have sleep on the flight deck. I was so tired. I felt something weird on my forehead. When I woke up, I reached up and it was a post-it note. Someone put a post-it on my head while I sleep. I pulled it off and read plain clothes and toiletries and the devil under your bunk. So this note to any slow you clean up strap. Such a pain on my butt, I mumbled. I stumbled on my coat. A few officers gave me a passing glance, but otherwise ignored me. I found a duffel and a promise, and there were clothes and dental hygiene stuff and soap. I glanced around the bank room and saw through a doorway in the locker room. I used the bathroom, or had, I guess, because I was on the ship. Then I took a shower with 3 other guys. I dried off and put the jumpsuit onesie and Strud had left me. It was bright yellow and had Chinese writing along the back. A big red stripe down the leg of pants. My guess once was to make sure everyone knew I was a first civilian and not always at center place. I flagged down a passing sailor and saw him the nod. He nodded, a gesture for me to follow. He led me through the maze of twisty little passages all alike. until we arrived back at the room I'd been in the previous day. Step in to see Strut and some other her teammate, question mark, was upset of the previous day gang, just Minister Foik. The Chinese scientist, I think her name was C, and a guy in a Russian military uniform. The Russian had been there the Russian had been there the previous day, but hadn't said anything. They all looked deep in the concentration, and the table was littered with paper. They mumbled to one another here and there. I didn't know the exact relationship going on, but Shrud was definitely at the head of the table. She looked up as I entered. Dr. Grace, you look refreshed. She gestured to her left. There food on the credenza. And there was rice, steamed buns, deep fried toasted, and an urn of coffee. I rushed over, helped myself. I was hungry as heck. Bro is so American. He see like a cookie and then he immediately grabbed it. I sat at a conference table with a full plate and cup of coffee. There you go, this is coffee. So I said with a mouth full of rice. You gotta tell me why we're on a Chinese aircraft carrier. I needed an aircraft carrier. The Chinese give me one. Well, they lent it to me. I slurped my coffee. There was a time when something like that could surprise me, but not anymore. Commercial air travel take too long and is prone to delays, he said. Military aircraft work on whatever schedule they want and travel supersonically. I need to be able to get expert from anywhere on Earth in the same room with no delays. Miss Trot can be extremely persuasive, said Mr. Foy. I shuffled my food into my mouth. Blame whatever gave her all that authority. I said, Foy cockle. I was part of the decision actually. I'm a Germany Minister of Foreign Affairs, the equivalent of your country's Secretary of State. Secretary of State, there we go. I suppose my string. Oh, I managed to say. I gulped down the mouthful. You're the most high ranking person I ever met. No, I'm not. He pointed to start. She put a piece of paper in front of me. This is what led to the Hail Mary project. You're showing him? I said, now? Without getting him a clearance? Strat put her hand on my shoulder. Try English? I heard you granted the top secret clearance to all information pertaining to Project Hail Mary. That's not what I mean, White said. There are process and the background check too. No time, Strat said. No time for any of that stuff. That's why you put me in charge. Speed. She turned toward me and tapped the paper. These are readings from amateur astronomers all over the world. They saw something very important. The page had column of numbers. I noticed the column title Alpha Centauri. Search Luton 70s, Luton 726 strip 8, and so on. Stars? I said. These are all the stars in our local cluster. And wait, did you say amateur astronomer? If you can tell the German Minister of Foreign Affairs what to do, why don't you have professional astronomer working for you? I do, Schrott said, but this is a historical data collected over the past several years. Professional astronomer don't study local star. They look at faraway thing. It's the amateur will look data on local stuff, like train spotters, hobbyists in their backyard, some of them with $10,000 worth of equipment. I pick up the paper. Okay, so what am I looking at? A luminosity reading, normalized across thousands of amateur-generated dataset corrected for non-weather and visibility condition. Supercomputer were involved. The point of this, our sun is not the only star that's getting dimmer. Really, I said. Oh, that's make perfect sense. Astrophage can travel at 0.92 times the speed of light. If it can go dormant, stay alive long enough, it could in fact nearby stars its spores. Just like mold, it spread from star to star. There's our theory, yes, said Shrug. This data goes back decade. It's not deeply reliable, but the trends are there. The NSA back calculated that. Wait, NSA? The US Nationality Security Agency? They have some of the best supercomputer in the world. I needed their supercomputer and engineer try all kind of scenarios, propagation model for how astrophage could get around in the galaxy. Back to the point, this local star have been dimming for decades, and the rate of dimming increased exponentially, just like we're seeing with the sun. She handed me another piece of paper. It had a bunch of dots connected by a line. Above each dot was a star name. Owing to the speed of light, or observation of the dimming had to be adjusted for the distance of the star and whatnot. There are clear pattern of infection from star to star. We know with each star was infected, and by which infected star or sun was infected by a star called Y0855 strip 0714. The star was infected by Sirius, which was infected by Epsilon Eridani. From there, the trail goes cool. I peered at the chart. Huh? Why 08? Blah blah blah. What's this? A lot of numbers, I would say, guys. Also infected Wolf 059, Lalande 21185, and Russ 128. Yes, every star eventually infect all of its neighbors. Judging from our data, we think Astro H has a maximum rate of just under 8 light years. Any star with a range of an infected star will eventually be infected. Well, we could add the data. Why 8 light years? Why not more or less? Our best guess is the asteroid can only survive so long without a star, and it can cost about 8 light years in that time. That's sensible. From an evolution point of view, I said, most stars have another star within 8 light years, so that as far as astrophage has to evolve to travel while sporing. It's like a mushroom. Probably, Strat said. Nobody noticed the star getting dimmer, I said. They only get to know about 10% dimmer before they stop dimming. We don't know why. It's not obvious to the naked eye, but if our sun dimmed by 10%, we're all dead, I said. Pretty much. She leaned forward on the table. Her posture was extremely proper. Miss Trot has not told you the most important part yet. The Russian nod. It was the first time I seen him move at all. She continued. Do you know that what Tau Ceti is? Do I know? I said. I mean, I know it's a star, but it's about 12 light year away, I think. 11.9, said C. Very good. Most would not know that. I teach junior high school science, I said. This thing come out. C and the Russian stood each other surprised look. Then they both looked at Shred. Shred stared them down. Did more to him than that. See regained her composure. Not that she lost much of it anyway. Ahem. In any event, Tau Ceti is very much inside the cluster of infected star. In fact, it is near the center. Okay, I said. I'm sensing there's something special about it. It's not infected, he said. Every star on it. There are two infected stars well within 8 light year of Tau Ceti, in yet it remained unaffected. Why? Strut shuffled through her paper. That's what we want to find out. So we're going to make a ship and send it there. Ooh. I snorted. You can just make an interstellar ship. We don't have the technology. We don't have anything close to the technology. The Russian spoke for the first time. Actually, my friend, we do. Strut gustered Russian. Dr. Komarov is. Please call me Dmitri, he said. Dmitri head up the Russian Federation research into the asteroids, he said. It is pleasure to meet you, he said. I am happy to report that we can actually make interstellar voyage. No, we can, I said, unless you got an alien spaceship you never told anyone about. In a way, we do, he said. We have mini alien spaceship, we call them astrophage, you see? My group has studied the energy management of astrophage. It is very interesting. I suddenly forgot everything else going on in the room. Oh god, please tell me you understand where the heat goes. I can't figure out what the heck is going with the heat energy. We have figured this out, yes, said Dimitri. With laser, it was very illuminating experience. Is that a pun? It was. Good one. We both laughed. Strad glared at us. Dimitri cleared his throat. Yes, we point tight focus on kilowatt laser at the single astrophyte cell. As usual, it did not get hotter, but after 25 minutes, lights start to bounce off. Our little astrophage is good. Good meal. It's consumed 1.5 megajoules of light energy. There's not one more. But this is very much energy. Where does it put all the energy? I'm leaning way too forward over the table, but I can help myself. Where? We've measured astrophage cell before and after experiment, of course. Of course. Astrophage is no 17 nanogram heavier. You can see where this goes, yes? No, it can be. Must have gained the weight from direction with the air or something. No, it was in a vacuum for the test, of course. Oh my god. I was giddy. 17 nanogram? I'm 9 times to 10 to 7 16 1.5 megajoules. I flipped back into my chair. Holy, I mean, just well. This was how I felt, yes. Mass conversion. As the great Albert Einstein once said, E equal mc2, there was an absurd amount of energy in mass. A modern nuclear plant can power an entire city for years with the energy stored in just 1 kilogram of uranium. That's it. The entire output of nuclear reactor for a year come from a single kilogram of mass. Astrophage can apparently do this in either direction. It takes heat energy and somehow turn it into mass. Then when it wants the energy back, it turns into mass back into energy. It's the form of Petrov frequency light. And it used that to propel itself along in space. So not only is it a perfect energy storage medium, it's perfect spaceship engine. A fusion can be insanely effective when you leave it alone for a few billion years. I rub my head. This is just crazy. In a good way. Though is it internally producing antimatter, don't you think? Something like that? We do not know, but it definitely increasing its mass. And then, after using light as a thrust, it loses mass appropriate to energy release. That Dimitri, I want to hang out with you. Like, can we hang out? I'll buy you beer, a vodka, or anything. There are visceral clip up this boy, right? It would be my pleasure. But you're making friends, said Shrug. But you got a lot of more to do before you start hitting the bars. Me? What do I have to do? You need to design and create an astrophage breeding facility. I blink, then I shoot to my feet. You're going to make an astrophage power ship? They all nod. Holy cow, it's the most efficient rocket fuel ever. How much would we need? Oh, 2 million kilogram, right? And why would you wanted to know how long it would take to make much? Yes, said C. For 100,000 kilogram ship, we would need 2 million kilogram of astrophage to get it to Tau Ceti, and thanks to you, we know how active the astrophage and make generate to trust it will. I sat back down, pulled out my phone, and launched the calculator up. This would take like a lot of energy, like more energy than the world has. It would be around 10 to the 23rd joules. The largest nuclear reactor on Earth make about 8 gigawatts. It would take the reactor 2 million years to create too much energy. We have idea to far to find energy, said Trot. Your job is to make the breeder. Start small and got the prototype going. Okay, sure, I said, but I didn't exactly love the military of the world. Grand tour all the way here. Can I take passenger bed back home? Which is fine. You are home, said Strut. The flight hangar is empty. Just tell me what you need, including the staff, and I'll make it happen. I look at the area in the conference room. See, Boyne, Dimitri, all nodded. Yes, this was real. No, Strut wasn't kidding. Why? I demanded. Why the heck can you just be normal, Strut? If you want a fast military transport, well, okay. But why not just work at an air base or something sane people would do? Because we'll be experimenting with a bunch of asteroids once we breed it up, and if we accidentally active even a couple of kilogram of this storm, the initial explosion will be bigger than the largest nuclear bomb ever made. Tsar Bomba, said Dimitri. Made by my country. 50 megatons. Boom. Tsar continue. So we'd rather be out in the middle of the ocean where we won't eradicate any city. Oh, I see. And as we get more and more, as we go further and further out to sea. Anyway, head down to the hangar deck. I have carpenter building accommodation and office as we speak. Pick some you like and lay claim. This is our life now, said Dimitri. Welcome. I feel like in the movie they don't live on the ship, no? They just live on on the military base. As start running into couple field which are interesting. Chapter 6. I think I'm gonna end the stream there. I feel like my voice is running out and there's a lot of page reading and I think I think that's pretty good. I'll try not to overdo it and strain my voice. My voice hurty. But thank you everyone for being here. I hope you guys enjoy reading session. I know I really like do this. But yeah. Let me see what I can read. Oh, Duras. Da, 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 da. Okay, what am I reading? Mm. I'm gonna read zero. Bye bye, guys. Hope you everyone have a nice day. I'll see you. Bye bye.